Let's get to some headlines from across the state of Texas. And we will start with, I would say, the biggest story of the 2025 Texas high school football offseason, and certainly the most shocking story of the 2025 Texas high school football offseason. And that is that the Gunner Tigers are looking for a head coach. As last week, as reported by Dave Campbell's Texas Football's Matt Stepp, Jake Feazell, the longtime head coach of the Gunner Tigers, has stepped down as their head coach. He, of course, has won 5 state championships there, including each of the last 3 state championships there in 3A Division II. He is a guy who has helped to, plain and simple, build Gunner into I don't think there's really any doubt about it, the 3A program of record in Texas. Over the course of 18 seasons, Jake Feazell is 224-31 with 18 playoff appearances, 15 district championships, and 5 state championships, including, of course, as we mentioned, the winner of the previous 3A Division II state champions, the 3-time defending state champs in Gunner. This is a shocking move. I want to be really careful about what I say here. But really intentional about what I say. A couple of weeks ago, we started getting rumblings and reports kind of from our sources, Matt Stepp in particular, his sources, that this could be coming, that there was perhaps a coaching change in the works there at Gunner. From what I understand, this is due to an off-field personal issue, an off-field family issue of some kind. We're certainly not going to pry into that, but it is certainly shocking that the 3-time defending state champs, the Gunner Tigers, are looking for a head coach. I know that this has really rocked the community up there in Gunner. I want to just kind of point out that this feels rare, right? That the 3-time defending state champ will have a new coach, but it's actually not all that rare. All told, this is actually going to be the 8th time in UIL 11-man history that a 3-time defending state champ will have a new head coach. It happened for the first time back in 1930s with Amarillo, when Blair Cherry won 3 straight state championships, and then Howard Lynch took over. And then it's happened to Salina when G.A. Moore or Butch Ford took over for G.A. Moore. It's happened at Dangerfield in the late 2010s or 20-teens rather. Eric Sardinia taking over from Barry Bowman. Happened at Lake Travis. They actually had 2 coaching changes in that drive for 5. With Chad Morris leaving and Hank Carter taking over, Alan Weddle at Lamarck leaving and Larry Walker taking over. And then it's actually, strangely, happened, Todd Dodge has done it twice. He did it at South Lake Carroll in 2004-2006, went to take over at North Texas, and Al Wasson came over. And then, of course, he went three-peated at Austin Westlake, retired briefly, and at that point, Tony Salazar took over. Of note here, of the 7 times that this has happened in UIL 11-man Texas high school football history, only 1 time has the team won a 4th state championship, and that was when Hank Carter took over for Chad Morris at Lake Travis. Only one other team besides that made the title game. That was Lamarck under Larry Walker in his first year there, taking over for Alan Weddle. I think this... Let me speculate here about what they're going to do. I think it's May 5th. Actually, I know it's May 5th.
Can't confirm.
I have a hard time believing they're going to go out there and try to do a coaching search. It's so late in the game. It's so late in the offseason that my guess, this is a guess, is that they're going to promote from within. Now, will that be an interim status or will that be a full-time? I don't know, but that's my guess.
Yeah, I think the other side of that too that people need to consider is the assistant coaches, anybody who was not the head coach, they've all been there for a really long time too. That was not a high turnover rate of a staff. I mean, those guys that have been there for the 3-peat, almost all of them are still there and have been there almost the entire time under Feazell. So it's not like oh yeah, he kept winning and there was just a bunch of new coaches and people kept getting hired, they would turn down jobs to be able to stay there. So they've been around the block.
The thing that I think is very interesting, though, they have actually made a you're exactly right. They've had relatively kind of,
it's low churn.
Yeah, they've had low churn. They've held on to their staff. One name I would keep an eye on, this is me, is Jordan Gill, their offensive coordinator. That feels like one of the things that feels like it would make sense, but I don't know. I don't have any inside information on that. I am simply reading the tea leaves, and generally speaking, when you have a sudden coaching change in May, and from what I understand, from what we understand, this was not something that Coach Feazell was planning on doing for a long time, and he had been preparing his staff behind the scenes for this. From what we understand, the staff was more or less caught off guard by this. And so as a result, if you have a sudden coaching change this late in the game, my guess is that they will look at promote from within. But it's a shocking story that I think will also has major ripple effects in 3A Division 2. This is plain and simple. Like, we're putting together 2025 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Matt Stepp and I had a conversation about where Gunner should be ranked. Like, where they should be. Like, how much should their ranking be affected by this? It is a truly remarkable turn of events here. And so the 3A Division 2 state champion Gunner Tigers will have a new head coach in 2025. We, of course, are following the story as much as we can on TexasFootball.com. It was us and Jason De La Rosa at the Sherman Herald Democrat that broke the story. We will keep you up to date on what happens there in Gunner. Elsewhere, other coaching changes from across state Texas. How about the team that played Gunner in the state championship game? How bizarre is this? Both teams from the 3A Division 2 state championship game will have a new head coach. We knew that Woodville was going to have a new head coach. Ty Robinson had left to go take over at Crawford. And they have gone out and they have hired Heath Clausen to be their next head coach. Heath Clausen leaving Elgin to become the new head coach there. He talked with Matt Stepp at Dave Campbell's Texas Football at TexasFootball.com about this and talked about how he was intrigued by the opportunity to take over a program that is obviously on the rise there. He's been at Elgin for the last 4 seasons. He kind of helped to rebuild them into a perennial playoff team. What is interesting, though, is this is obviously a Woodville program coming off their best season in program history, going to the state championship game. What I think is so fascinating here, though, is that this is a move down in classification. He's going from 5A Division 2 to 3A Division 2. But at the same time, obviously he felt like this is a really good fit. And so Woodville will have a new head coach in Heath Clausen. Elgin now is open and looking for a new head coach. Fascinating to see where Elgin goes there in that kind of greater Austin area. But keep an eye on that, as Heath Clausen has been hired as the new head coach there of the Woodville Eagles, the reigning 3A Division 2 state runners-up. Okay. Elsewhere, let's talk a little bit about 7-on-7. 7-on-7's going, guys. The state qualifying tournaments are rolling right now. We've had 2 of them. And 2 weeks ago, we had our first one in the Coppell SQT, where Crandall and Louisville both qualified for the state tournament. Joining them this week winning their own tournament at their own state qualifying tournament, Hampshire Finette qualified for the state tournament. Hampshire Finette will be heading to College Station. Of course, we have the official website of the state 7-on-7, and we are the official partner of the state 7-on-7 tournament. If you go to TexasFootball.com, we've got everything you need for 7-on-7. Big stuff coming this year for our coverage of state 7-on-7. But the first 3 teams have punched their tickets to College Station. They're Hampshire Finette joining Louisville and Crandall. Finally, I want to direct you to go to TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com, we've got, of course, our friend Carter Yates has been on a bit of a heater as far as storytelling is concerned. And he wrote a really remarkable story about the rise of directors of football operations in Texas high school football. Mesquite has hired one. Leander Rouse has hired one. Bay City has hired one. it's really interesting. Lexi Brooks took over at Leander Rouse. Sapphire Cervantes took over is she at Mesquite? Is that correct?
Yes.
It's a fascinating role, and you can read all about what that role goes into. I think people think of a director of football operations or a director of player personnel type thing as a college thing or a pro thing. It is trickling down to the high school ranks, and they are doing a lot of the nitty gritty work behind the scenes to get these football teams rolling. It's really fascinating. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. No, I was trying to look at something else. No, it really is. We talked a lot about it on WTF, and it's funny because a DFO position has been around for a long time, and a lot of them have been males, but to watch it trickle down and be an avenue for women to be able to get into the sport and really on the team in a different way it's been so cool. So it's been really admirable to watch everybody that's going into that path, and I hope to see a lot more people start to do that.
Well, it's also, I mean, to say to say it plainly, the other thing that I think is remarkable about this, and I think one of the reasons you guys talked about it on Women Talking Football, is that this has been a role that I think is a real opportunity for women, ball-knowing women, to make their way into the Texas high school football world, right? And so this is it's really interesting to see, and I think it's going to become more and more prevalent. I think you're exactly right. This role of a director of football operations, I think, or some, they might change the title a little bit, but like whatever that is, as far as kind of the how do I want to put this? Kind of the chief strategist and the chief operator of the program. I think that's going to become more and more, because I think we think of these Texas high school football coaches, and we've said this a lot, that calling plays for these football coaches is like 1% of their job. This is, I think, an opportunity for them to, for people to get involved and to help make these programs less of kind of these monoliths, right? Where it's like one person running the whole thing, spreading out a lot of those tasks that are the nitty gritty things that have to get done for a football team to operate. It's a really fascinating story on TexasFootball.com. Carter Yates wrote it, The Rise of Directors of Football Operations in Texas High School Football. Go check it out on TexasFootball.com. Just go to TexasFootball.com generally.
Yeah, why not?